Welcome to the intro for the Circus project in the Matisse style in Computer Art 1. So we talked a little bit about Matisse and the Matisse redraw, and you'll notice that there's a few more of his images in this PowerPoint. What you want to notice about his work is that it's very simple. It's like it's cut out of paper. And when he does use his kind of cutouts, they're very simple, abstract designs. What you want to do is you want to create a circus project that is in the Matisse style. So these are a really good example of a few of his styles here. Your assignment is to create a circus image that would fit in with the Matisse Jazz series. Remember to use simple shapes and abstractions to symbolize or represent a circus scene. Consider or remember to use the principles when creating your composition. Refer to the video if you need to for help. You may use reference images from the internet for help, but you must redraw the images in a vector program like Inkscape. So here are some ideas: ringmaster and tent, sword throwers and swallowers, strongmen, acrobats, trapeze performers, any of the animals that are found in the circus, clowns, many, many more. If you need ideas, go out and search Google for inspiration. So here's my example of the ringmaster. I went out to Barnum and Bailey and I got a picture of the ringmaster, and then I redrew it in Illustrator. Generally, you're probably going to need to use the pen tool in many instances. You could actually use the shape, any shapes, and then just change them if that's what you want to do. So the circus has been a subject for a long time in artwork, and there are many, many examples of artists using the circus as a subject matter. Here's a good example of that. This is a painting of trapeze artists. One of the most famous artists that dealt with a circus or circus imagery other than Matisse is actually Marc Chagall. This is a Marc Chagall painting of a circus scene from around about the same time that Matisse worked as well. And he's got many of these images. This is another image by Marc Chagall of the circus and some clowns in his painting. So modern artists also use animals of the circus and images of the circus to create interesting drawings and paintings. This is one from Kari Nonstead. So what could you use as subject matter for your project? Well, there's pretty much anything that you can search that has to do with the circus. This happens to be a series of clowns from the Shrine Circus. This happens to be a vintage image of some acrobats standing in the back with some clowns in the front. Again, the circus was something that was basically the entertainment before the television. So there were quite a few circuses that traveled around the country in America in the early to mid 19th century. So you can do a lot of different circus imagery, from ringmasters and animals to the outside of the tent. You can put in there any circus animal, trapeze artists, acrobats. There's lots of trained animals, not so much anymore. Even motorcycles are now part of the modern circus. So now a few examples of student work. I love how the student used the large ellipse in the background and the small, kind of very abstract, colorful dots in the background to simulate the crowd. Ellipses are super important if you want something to look three-dimensional. So using those going back in space is going to make something look three-dimensional. This spotlight on here is actually created by making an ellipse with a kind of a modified triangle in the background. Other thing that students have used, they've used darker things when they go back in space. So darker things go back in space, lighter things come out. So to take the two back feet on this lion and send them back was a really great idea on this student's part. This is a modified version of the ellipse. Sometimes it just all it has to do with is finding the perfect picture that you want to represent. So this student went out and just found an image of a fire breather for their project. So clowns are really popular in the circus. What I probably would try not to do, which is what the student did here, was put any sort of lines onto the project. You're getting away from the Matisse style when you do that. Obviously, the face isn't complete, so it still has a little bit of that abstract quality. This one's a little bit more abstract in the face. Again, I would try and stay away from using the stroke in Illustrator or in Vector due to the fact that it does start to ruin the illusion that it's a cutout piece of paper. So the last couple of days we have been working with Illustrator with some basic imagery. You should have your elements of principles done. Then you're going to work on your Matisse redraw, and that's the redraw of the image pictured here called the Fall of Icarus. And then you're going to start on your own Circus Matisse project that would fit with Matisse's work in the Jazz series. Stay somewhat abstract, don't get too detailed, and you'll have a great looking artwork. Good luck!